Tandem Nomads, episode 107. How many times have you been stuck wondering what to write when trying to convince someone about something important for you? For example, getting a meeting with someone, getting featured on a blog or a podcast, or getting invited to speak at a place, or simply selling a product or your service to someone. So, how many times did you have to write something and got stuck, not knowing what to say? So, if you've been in that situation, I have a magical formula for you that will work every time you want to convince someone about something that is in both your interest. Hello, Nomad Nation. Welcome to Tandem Nomads. I am Emel Deregi. I'm a business and marketing expert, and I will share with you here all my tricks and tips to help you grow a successful portable business and thrive in your global nomadic life. This episode is the audio version of Tandem Nomads TV channels that you can find on Facebook page of Tandem Nomads, on the Instagram, and on YouTube. So if you want to watch this video, you can simply go either on YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram, the place of your choice, and make sure to subscribe to not miss any of these great insights and visuals. However, if you just prefer to listen to these episodes, that's all fine. And if you want to make sure to not miss any other free resources that will offer you in this episode, all you have to do is go to tandemnomads.com/107. So in this episode, I'm going to share with you one of my magical formula that works every time I need to sell something, present something, or do anything that is requiring to convince someone. So there's so many situations where you might want to present yourself and not know what to say. For example, if you want to reach out to someone to get a meeting, like for example, you want to have a meeting with a potential client. So how can you convince this person to meet you? Or if you actually just simply want to sell a service or a product, how can you do that in writing if you had to do it via email, for example? Or let's say you want to be featured on a podcast show, or you want to be invited to speak in an event. So all situations where you need to sell yourself, but wonder how to do it in a simple and effective way. Well, I've got a simple and amazing formula for you to share it with you. And to be honest with you, I have been learning this formula many, many years ago when I was a student, and I was taught on how to write a cover letter. So I'm basically sharing with you the cover letter strategy I've learned when I was a student. And I discovered that this is a magical formula that works for anything that requires to convince somebody about doing something with you. So this formula is pretty simple. It's based on three paragraphs. The first one is called you. The second one is called me. And the third one is called us. So before I describe them to you, I just want you to realize something very important. When you try to convince somebody of doing something that is in your interest, but hopefully also in their interest, you want to make sure that you're actually focusing in their interest and not in yours. I want you to realize that selling and convincing, it's never really about you. It's about the person you want to convince. That's the whole difference between persuasion and manipulation. I actually have to say that I've been doing my whole thesis about this. I'm always getting very excited when I have to talk about the difference between manipulation and persuasion. So if you want to persuade somebody, you want to make sure that you're considering their interests. And selling, again, is not about you. It's about making sure that you're providing the value that the person needs. So as long as you're convinced about that, and make sure that whenever you try to reach out to somebody to convince them about something, you always think about their interests first instead of yours, and make sure that you know their interests very well, what are their needs and their interests in order to convince them. And that's the first step to be able to be persuasive. But let's say you have to write an email to convince to be invited to speak in an event. So here is the formula you want to use. You first of all want to make this email, for instance, very short and effective. And you want to base it on 3 paragraphs. The first one, as I said, it's you. You want to show in the first paragraph that you know exactly your customer and that you know their needs and what they're looking for. You want to be sharp and straight to the point. I'm going to give you a very, very practical example with my podcast show. I receive every week, a couple of requests to be featured on the podcast show. Or I actually also receive a lot of requests from companies and digital media companies who want to sell their services to me. And I'm always surprised that they will always start with telling what they actually do. That's not the way to do. Every time I get attention from someone who reaches out to me to sell their services or ask me to be featured on the podcast, is always when they start by showing me that they know exactly who I am and what I do. For example, I've been receiving an email saying, "Oh, Amel, I just listened to your last episode, number 46, and I was so excited when I got to learn about this trick or this tip because it was really helpful for me. And I actually have something that you might be interested in to be able to help your clients or your audience get even more success." Do you see what just happened here? So the first paragraph is not about you. It's about showing that this person was showing that they've been really paying attention and spending time knowing exactly what I do and how I do it and why. So it's not enough to just say, "I just went to your website and it was so great." No, you actually want to be very precise and show how the depth of the information you have about that person and to trigger their attention. So the first paragraph is all about getting their attention. You actually could also use humor. You could use other ways to do it, but make sure that it's always turned into what they are interested in. Second paragraph is about you. And actually, when I say about you, it's not really about you. It's about how what you have can be useful to them. For example, if this person had to reach out to me to, let me just find an example, practical example. Let's say that somebody wanted to be featured on my podcast about how to use social media. Then I would say in the second paragraph, I have something that might be really useful for your audience to be able to learn in very practical ways how to deal with the complexity of social media and social media ads to help them grow their portable business. So you see, it's not about them, it's about them. It's about how their services can help me help my clients, for example. So make sure that the second paragraph is about your services, but make sure to turn it around so that it really shows that your service is there to provide a value to the person you're reaching out to. Okay. And then third is the call to action, and I call it the us. It's about how we should get together and take action and create this partnership. So you want to show, first of all, the value of working together, but also what is the step to now take to be able to take this email to the next step. So you always want to finish with a call to action, but a call to action that really, again, is turned towards the interest of that person. For example, if that person is a very busy person, you want to make sure, for example, to say, "I know you're very busy, and I want to respect your time, so I can in 15 minutes show you how this works. We can talk over the email, or I can show you a video. Let me know what works better for you." Actually, that a call to action, I've also learned that a lot when I was selling door to door. You always want to give 2 options to people. Instead of saying yes or no, you want to make people choose between 2 options, and choose the one that's easiest for them. So the third is us, and it's about how we should get together in your interest, and you make sure that the call to action is easy and it's something easy to do. And if you really want to take one step further and really convince this person is by offering something valuable before even you talk. So for example, you could say, here is, I don't know, if you were, you could say, for example, here is a free Let's say somebody wanted to reach out to me to be interviewed on the podcast show. They could send me a PDF saying, so here is already a great resource that you could use for your audience. So giving already value, and if it's really a good value, I would certainly reach to that person to interview that person if I really think it makes sense to my audience. So make sure to bring value again. It's all about bringing value. So to summarize, first paragraph, it's about you. You show the you is your customer. You show how well you know your customer. Number 2 is about me, and that me is about how my services can really be useful to you and to your interests. And third is the call to action of what it's the interest of getting together. And usually the best way to show that is by already giving value to that person before you actually get together. But if you want to, for example, get a meeting, or make sure to give choice between 2 options, one easy one and one a little more complicated maybe, so that the person can choose what works for them in order to say yes. And actually this trick works really well for your about page. A lot of people wonder how to write an about page. So basically your about page should always start with, what is your audience looking for? All right, Nomad Nation, I hope this was helpful to you. And let me know in the comments section, what is the situation where you would see yourself implementing this method? And if you are looking to start a portable business, or if you already have a business but don't generate enough revenue, make sure to download my free guidebook where I show you the 3 important pillars to implement in your business to be able to grow a successful business and thrive in your global nomadic life. The link is above or below this video or in the webpage of this episode.
If you are ready to take action, make sure to download this free resource on tandemnomads.com/107. Nomad Nation, I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Stay tuned to turn your challenges into great opportunities.